Okay, so a new update on me curing my chronic health issues that I developed through iatrogenic effects, or I guess I could say drug induced, from the different drugs I was forced on in the Cash for Kids system, and probably even some side things for my situation. But of course, as I always say, the number one reason I got sick was because of all the different drugs I was forced on. So, as I think I've mentioned on here before, I was trying the whole castor oil thing at one point for side issues that have nothing to do with the drugs or any of that. Cause like way back when I would say 6, I got swollen lymph nodes on my neck. They used to be so big to where like people could see them from feet away. It took it took years and years for the lumps to go down, but they're still there. They're definitely way less visible. And so at one point last year, sometime in 2023, when I was getting gift cards for CVS from some program type thing, I was able to go get castor oil that was like $3. The bottle was super small though. And so I was able to use a little bit of that, and I would put it on my neck and like rub it on my back and stuff, but it wasn't enough, and eventually I just didn't have the money for it anymore, so I just stopped getting it. I really wish I could have kept using it though, because like it helped those swollen lymph nodes on my neck go down a lot. It also helped with this breast lump I had since I was like, I don't know, 9, 10. And when you have stuff like that, doctors just tell you it's whatever. They did the same thing with the swollen lymph nodes too, and those things used to be huge. And that's way less common than the whole lump in the breast thing that they try to normalize. Although, of course, I now know that the reason my lymph nodes got swollen back then was because of living in mold. Because, I mean, most buildings have mold, so I lived in mold for most of my life at different places and went to school in mold. And I also believe that's the same reason my quote-unquote stepmom's lung had collapsed. Back when we were living in that apartment where my lymph nodes had became swollen. It never went down, but I was told it was whatever and it was normal. Well, I mean, they did try to make it seem normal, but they mostly said it was okay because they didn't know what was going on. And that's what they do. But, anywho, to get to the point, I got some more castor oil. I don't really know. I guess this is like the type that could be eaten too, but I'm using this for like calcification and stuff, kind of like what I was trying to do on my back way back when, but I wasn't using enough. So that's what I'm gonna try to do again. And I got these wool cloth things that I'm gonna use to put this on my back under. I think this can go under here, under this heating pad thing, to try to like really get the castor oil in there, because ever since the whole spine injury thing that happened for me, like camping on that hill last, what was it, August 2023, after that my back pretty much never stopped hurting. The pain has switched up so many times. At one point it felt like I just needed to like crack my back, but then the pain only hurt when I wasn't moving, and it's just changed up so much. But I've realized that there's definitely some lumps that like form from that, and that's actually what was swollen way back when I had this chiro try to tell me that what did he say? I had scoliosis and there's some other stuff. I mean, honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if that was true, although I don't think it is. But due to different stuff with trauma, pretty much most of my siblings have scoliosis, so I wouldn't be surprised if I did. But that doesn't have jack to do with jack, even if it was true. And then what else was it? Oh yeah, and then what did he say? Arthritis and degenerative disc disease, something like that. And I mean, I'm not even gonna lie. Supposedly, from what I seen in one of my old videos I used to make that I had watched, I actually had back issues before, but I just don't remember because I mean, all that stuff pretty much became repressed memory, so I don't really remember too much of anything to be truthfully honest. But back pain for me apparently isn't a new issue from a video I made some years ago. It just like I guess can't put on that he'll put the icing on the cake, so now I need to use this. But like long term, what he'd applied to break down those lump things that I got from injuring my back. And I also know that I need to start balancing my blood sugar, figure out how to do that. Because what I've realized is that, how do I even summarize this? So pretty much, okay, wait a minute. Okay, I think I figured out how to summarize this. So, as I've mentioned before, when I was in my previous situation, it was a lot of gaslighting around my health and all that. Which also kind of goes along with this thing that I used to say all the time. It's like when you're in the cash for kids system or you just have like Jezebelic Munchausen abusers, none of the issues you actually have matter. So like they'll run around lying, claiming you can't feel pain and what else? Or they'll claim you, I don't know, can't talk as an example. They'll say things like that, but then you could have real serious issues going on, whether mental or physical, and they'll pretend that's not going on. And if you ever mention it, they'll be like, well, that's not true, or it doesn't matter that much, or did you die though? And what else? Um, Stop complaining, stop talking about it. I'm in more pain than you are. People with the Jezebel spirit, they love to do that too. They love to act like you could just say you have a cold and they'll try to act like you have factitious disorder and you're trying to fake it to make them feel inferior or something. And that's something that I've noticed with a couple of Jezebel people I've met, like even since leaving my situation. They hate when you're sick or in pain and then they'll try to make it seem like you're just saying stuff. And then there's also this thing where people like to act like if you can't pull out some doctor's note and show them that your back hurts, then you're lying for attention or something. You're just lying. It's weird. People are weird. But yeah, so anywho, those are things I've noticed from a couple of different people. Not even just my old abusers. But yeah, so anywho, people do that. And it kind of just made me, I don't know, brush things off. And like I said, I now know that most of the symptoms I was having when I was living with relatives last were from mold toxicity. Which the reason the mold toxicity affected me as bad as it did was because like my liver and kidneys and stuff were already struggling due to the different long ignored issues I had got from all the different drugs that I was forced on. And yeah, so what was I getting at? I guess like once I got out that situation, I started getting around different people. I had a lot of people telling me that like I'm not supposed to have all the issues I have pretty much. And I actually had a couple people mention the whole diabetes thing to me. And so like it's just been easy for me to actually really realize that I need to do something about the different issues I have going on. And it's like the symptoms are more noticeable when I don't have people telling me that it's normal to be dizzy, halfway about to pass out, throwing up all the time, not able to digest food, having orange diarrhea. I don't have that anymore because I've been working on my digestion, but that was from not being able to digest fat. But I also now know that because of the leftover pancreas issues, from the drugs messing up my pancreas and stuff, I'm also not really releasing or placing fat, if I'm saying this right, which also goes hand in hand with the whole losing muscle mass and not being able to gain muscle either. And why I dropped down to 80 pounds at 14 after losing the metabolic center / diabetes type 2 weight. And so pretty much when you're on psychotropics, the weight gain is diabetes. It is metabolic syndrome. But due to the fact that I was just being gaslit and all that stuff for so long, I wasn't managing my blood sugar issues. So that's why I started moving like into the type 1 territory, which is when your pancreatic function gets worse. And that's also why I eventually like lost all my weight and even the normal weight that I would be without ever being put on the psychotropics. Because of course when you get off the psychotropics, unless your like liver function and all that is very impaired, you're gonna lose the metabolic syndrome weight, and you'll probably even lose the diabetes completely. But I even lost like the regular weight that I should have kept, because I do remember that back when that whole situation happened, which is a long story I'm not going to completely go into, doctors did tell me that I lost way more weight than people usually do when they lose the metabolic syndrome weight. But of course, they kind of just, I mean, for one, they really didn't even want to do testing. And then two, due to the situation I was in, they also kind of wondered if, like, maybe my mom was just starving me and doing more munch outs and stuff and pretending that she didn't know why I was sick and she was starving me. And of course they felt that, but they didn't do anything because they didn't care. But I really couldn't digest food and my blood sugar had just been unmanaged for so long that I just couldn't gain weight or keep weight anymore. So that's what I've recently pieced together. And I guess, like, I don't know, I let people gaslight me into believing that I didn't, like, really have diabetic or pancreas type stuff going on anymore, that I thought maybe it was just something else. And I mean, sure, there was the whole mold toxicity thing, and of course, having low stomach acid for so long and not being able to digest food for so long, I would get bacterial imbalances, which you get from the drugs anyway, and I would get like parasites or whatever, but that's still not the main issue. And like I've said a couple times in different videos, the main issue with like bacterial imbalances and having parasites or having parasite buildup is commonly just going to be having low stomach acid, and that's what that would go back to. But I'm now realizing that to fix the leftover issues, I really need to figure out how to balance my blood sugar. And that's the thing. When I was on the drugs, I definitely had type 2 because that's what happens. So like I had the insulin resistance, I had the crazy hemoglobin levels. I had low iron all my life. That's actually normal now, which I mentioned in other videos. Most of my results are actually normal or better than they were in my entire life, even before the whole cash for kids system drugging thing. So it's only a little bit of stuff I have to fix, but my iron was low, my regular blood count was low. As I mentioned before, that was also because I had the hyperprolactinemia side effect, which messes up your pituitary gland and stuff and gives you 30-day periods or 30-plus-day periods. So of course I'm going to be anemic in multiple ways for multiple different reasons due to multiple different side effects. What else was it? My hemoglobin A1C was high. My blood sugar was commonly high, but sometimes it would be low too. And what else was it? It was just a lot of stuff. The usual stuff that you'll see with diabetes. And, well, a lot of that stuff is normal now. Like, my C-peptide is like it's pretty low. It's not zero, luckily, but it's pretty low. So I need to get that back up, and I need to balance my blood sugar and not have all these highs and lows and all that. Also balance my blood sugar so protein can stop like getting into my urine, but I think that also has something to do with the fact that I can't digest protein and stuff. Which I mean, it's gotten better, especially the fat digestion. But I mean, of course, since my pancreas is still kind of struggling, the fat isn't going anywhere. So I mean, I think that that's also why when I tried carnivore for the second time, I had that IC type flare within 8 days, and I hadn't had pelvic floor bladder symptoms like that since I was living in mold. It still wasn't as bad as when I was living in mold though. When I was living in mold, that caused like all types of pelvic floor muscle spasms, and that was very bad. But I was having an icy type flare because um I was eating a lot of protein. Also probably because of the fat too. And it wasn't really going anywhere and I couldn't really digest it. So trying carnivore was a bad idea, but I mean I'm glad I at least tried again. The first time I tried, my glucose dropped, and that was only 2 days in. This time I made 8 days because I did things a little different, and I also like would put honey on the meat, but my bladder started hurting, and I also did some research on it. I seen something about oxalate dumping. I mean, sure, recently in the past year or two, I've been eating a lot of fruits and vegetables, but I didn't really. I don't think I ate that much fruits and vegetables throughout my life to really be oxalate dumping like that. So I feel like it was just about the protein and probably the fat. Could have been histamine related too, because of my blood sugar dropping, and then what else was it? Oh yeah, the fat indigestion. So what point was I getting at? Oh yeah, so I did this I did a couple tests actually, like a week or two ago. And it said there was protein in my urine, the urine analysis, and there was like high urine pH. But the thing is, I wasn't even in pain then, though. But I do believe that, like, that is what was causing my bladder pain when I tried carnivore, and also what's been causing it off and on now. But it still doesn't really make that much sense, though, because I'm not, like, eating a lot of protein now because I kind of started trying to avoid that after that whole IC thing had happened. So I think that like either way, the protein starts spilling into my urine when my blood sugar is low. But what threw me off is that people say it happens when your blood sugar is high. But the thing is, I'm pretty sure when it was happening to me, my blood sugar was low because I also hadn't really eaten in the past couple hours when it was happening. But I mean, it's kind of confusing. But that's why I just realized I needed to like actually start monitoring my blood sugar. And I do know that usually when I get different blood tests, my blood sugar is low. But I guess if it's commonly low and I'm having like hypoglycemic issues, that also means that most likely I'm having like highs too. And that's probably what that is when I have like those fever type feelings. But yeah, so I guess what I'm trying to say is that it's like most of my results are normal for once in my life, especially since the psychotropic thing. But there's still some results that are like low and not what they're supposed to be. And obviously, I'm still having a lot of symptoms going on. And I guess there's just like some leftover pancreas issues that I need to fix. But things are mostly a lot better than how they used to be. So it's like 90% of things are better. And I just have these couple things I need to fix. It's still confusing though because like I mean, I've never liked candy, so I don't really know like what all's causing the highs and lows, but that's part of why I just decided to get one of these. I gotta learn how to use them again though, because I don't remember how. But yeah, so I got this. I also heard that this could help with like balancing blood sugar, and of course it helps with parasites too. But I haven't really been on to like the parasite thing, especially because I'm like taking the digestive aids, so I mean I'm detoxing stuff anyway. Then there's this, which I already showed. Then there's this. I'm gonna use this to like try to keep the castor oil packs on me, but I'm just gonna try to do them when I'm like going to sleep, because obviously that just makes things a lot easier. So I'm not like walking around trying to keep things from falling off. I don't think that's how I'm supposed to do that anyway, to be honest. These are also really good for patching holes in tents too. So yeah, I got these. I ran out of my old one. In fact, the funny thing is, the one of these that I used to have, I had got from my dad because he had like a lot of heart problems. So I had that one for years, and I started using it to patch holes in my tent, and then eventually I ran out of it. And I already showed this. And what else was it? There was something else I needed to say. Okay, I think the last thing I have to say is that some months and months and months ago, okay, let me not say that. A year ago, this lady had told me that I'm not supposed to have to pee every 2 seconds, and she was like, "You're showing signs of type 2 diabetes," but I was just like, "Nah," because I was under the impression that I didn't have it anymore, and I mean, honestly, I still really kind of don't, because like I said, it's like most of my results are normal for once in years and forever, but there's still like leftover issues. And I guess it also kind of goes into this thing because like I heard about fatty pancreas and fatty liver. And I guess like when you're gaining the metabolic syndrome weight, like you eventually start to get a lot of fat that has to go somewhere. And even when you lose the weight, some fat probably still stays, but also the fat that you're dropping down from your body maybe like gets stuck places. So, I mean, maybe that could have something to do with that. So once I start balancing my blood sugar and I keep using the castor oil stuff, then the remaining issues should eventually go away. It could take a couple months though, and that's kind of one of the issues because like my situation's kind of like iffy. So it's like I have stuff, I lose stuff, um, and then you have to like replace. You have to replace things and buy some more. Like I remember somebody stole my L-glutamine once when my tent flooded. That was a year ago. When my tent flooded in January, somebody stole my L-glutamine. I guess maybe they thought it was Coke or something. I don't know, but someone stole it. So yeah, I don't get robbed that much. I only ever got robbed twice. It was by the same Tommy Charleston dude. I used to have videos about that on another channel, but he just stole my DS and sold it, and the place hesitated to give me back my stuff. But he didn't even stay around there. He was just in the area. And then the glutamine, I don't really know who took that, but I mean, they probably didn't think I was coming back anyway for my stuff because my tent had flooded and collapsed. So they probably just, I don't know, thought I didn't want it anymore. But I didn't really need it because I needed to actually work on digesting food first before anything else. And apparently that can help with like blood sugar too, but I don't know. Did I say what I was supposed to say? Because I don't feel like I did. Oh yeah, so mention that thing with that lady. Another thing is that I was taking this first aid class because I thought that like it could be pretty useful. And a lot of the symptoms that they were mentioning for diabetes did sound like things I still had going on, but I guess the gaslighting was just really stuck in my head because I was under the impression that like all those symptoms and stuff had went away and that I was just like, I don't know, still dealing with mold toxicity and whatever else. But now I know that the reason I still have leftover issues going on is because I need to balance my blood sugar and figure out how to do that. And also use this to actually see what's spiking and when I'm low, so I can actually know the difference between the highs and the lows. But I gotta remember how to use this. And it was something else. Or was that it? Yeah, I guess that was it. I don't know, maybe I'll make a part 2. Also, I've been using this. Ignore that. I've been using this. So, what this does is helps me log everything that I try. Because like I said in the Solving My Health Issues playlist, I do want to like get on here and tell everybody what I did to cure whatever in the end. Now I know a lot of people are not going to want to listen because I never really, I mean, I don't have anything put on paper. I don't even have the 20 plus mental labels put on paper. But, you know, some people believe, some people won't. And I mean, everything won't work for everybody, but if you got sick due to something similar, it may help you. And what else? But as I may have mentioned in that last video, what I've also pieced together is that the reason I stopped being able to digest food wasn't just because of like my stomach acid going down because of stress. Because I mean, like I kept saying, it wasn't really making sense because I mean, if the issues I was having were really because of some of the things that people were saying it was because of, I mean, my siblings would have had it too then, if that's the case. So it wasn't making sense. So like it wasn't just because of the stress causing my stomach acid to go down. It wasn't even just because of the psychotropic side effects of turning out the bowels causing like a whole bunch of nerve issues or probably nerve damage and bacterial imbalances, or the other things that the psychotropics do to the digestive system or the intestines. It was because, this is what I'm assuming anyway, it was because my blood sugar had been unbalanced for so long and I had just been walking around throwing up about to pass out, shaking and stuff, and being told it was good, it's all good, that I wasn't, I guess like something with insulin and the glucose and maybe some nerve damage from that, or my body just not being able to function or power itself anymore because I wasn't like, the sugar wasn't getting to the cells. However the thing works with the glucose, because I forgot already. But if you know about this, you know what I'm trying to say. That's why I stopped being able to digest food. In fact, I even heard about something called diabetic gastroparesis. I don't know if I have that, but I do know that that's why my stomach acid and stuff had went down. So, yeah, there's that. And that's why I look 11. So,